So far in this course, we have covered Ielts writing and Ielts speaking. That's half of the full Ielts test. But now it's time for us to jump straight into section 5. Please do keep up your hard work in this course. And now we're going to be understanding exactly what the Ielts listening test is. So we'll understand the key information of what makes up the Ielts listening test. We're going to learn about the 4 sections of the Ielts listening test. So much like Ielts speaking where there's 3 parts, in Ielts listening we have 4 parts or 4 sections, and we'll be talking about that in this lesson. So before we get into the finer details of the Ielts listening test, here is a quick description. The Ielts listening test assesses your listening skills in understanding topics and factual information that you hear in the conversations from the test, as well as testing you on recognizing opinions or attitudes of the people speaking. In short, the Ielts listening test is used to test your everyday listening skills, as well as your academic listening skills, as the language used in everyday English is different to the language used in universities and other academic institutes. Now, there is a reason that the Ielts listening test will be testing your everyday English and your academic English, and that's because Ielts wants to test that you will be okay in your day-to-day life, as well as in university or if you go to any sort of academic institute. So there is a quick description for you. Now let's take a look at the finer details of what makes up this section of the test. Firstly, the test will last 30 minutes. That's how long you will be listening to the audio and writing down your answers for. After that, you have 10 minutes to transfer your answers into the Ielts answer sheet. As I previously said, there are 4 sections to the Ielts test. In total, there are 40 questions, so that means there are 10 questions in each section. There is 1 mark for each correct answer. So, as I'm sure you can work out, in the Ielts listening test, there are 40 marks total. You will only hear the audio once for each section. That means that there will be no repeats at any point in the Ielts listening test. Now, I'm sure that information may worry a few of you, but there's no need to worry, as you can mark your answers down whilst you are listening. And you need to believe in yourself and have some confidence. So that is the key information for the Ielts listening test. In total, 40 minutes, 40 questions and 40 marks. Now let's move on to a quick description of what each section in the Ielts listening test is. So in section 1, you will have a conversation between 2 people. And this is more like a social conversation that you may hear, for example, in the streets where you live. The language will be more relaxed and chatty, and it could be on a range of topics, from organising a night out to meeting with friends. In section 2 of the listening test, you will hear a monologue. A monologue is only one person speaking. This could be on a variety of topics, such as a speech given or a talk at a local town hall. In section 3, there will be between 2 to 4 people discussing university or other academic topics. It may be that they're arranging to practice and study something together, or something along the lines of studying. In the final section, you will hear another monologue, which, as I'm sure you'll remember, is one person speaking. This will usually be around something to do with a university or academic lecturer. As I was saying previously in this lesson, the Ielts listening test aims to assess your social and academic listening skills. And you can clearly see section 1 and 2 are social topics, whereas section 3 and 4 are more academic. Now let's look at some other overview points for the listening sections. So you will listen to the audio and then be asked 10 questions for each section, but you will be able to see these questions whilst listening. The IELTS listening test does get progressively more difficult from the first to the last question. It's probably important that you're aware of this so that you don't lose confidence if you can't quite get the answers later in the listening test, although I'm sure with practice you can do this. So quite simply, there we have it. You'll be listening to 4 different pieces of audio. You'll be asked 40 questions and you have 40 minutes to fill out and complete your answers. In some respects, the listening test is a little bit less complicated than the other sections. All you really need to do in preparation is to practice as many listening tests as you can, because in my opinion, learning the exam and the test style will help you massively for the listening section. So there you have your overview of the IELTS listening test. If you have any questions, don't forget to message me. Next up, we'll be learning how you are scored. I'll see you in the next lesson.